17 November 2024, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Mr. Tinashe Jonasi. I'm so sorry, Mr. Tinashe Jonasi, for ambushing you. Are you ready?
As always, I'm ready. I'm ready because we need to speak issues of Zimbabwe. Oppression is now too much.
Okay, fantastic. So I think today we want to start with a very important topic, which is the issue of poisoning that takes place in Zimbabwe. Many people have been poisoned, and you have talked about it in the past. And there are also suspicions that people are being injected and that people get poisoned. And you know quite a bit about this. So I want us to go through this discussion with the understanding of that. Recently, we lost one prominent politician, Lilian Timveos, who was previously an opposition member. What is your understanding of this situation?
All right. First, I would want to tell your viewers about my relationship with her. I first became closer to her when I was managing Teresa Makoni, who was then member of parliament for MDC Changirai, who was the leader of Women Assembly, the version of Women's League in ZANU-PF of Morgan Changirai, who was a co-minister of Home Affairs alongside Kembo Mohadi of ZANU-PF in the government of national unity. And she was also the wife of Morgan Tsvangirai's manager, the then manager, Ian Makoni. So I was managing Teresa Makoni. So by virtue of Teresa Makoni being a senior member in the royal family, first family of MDC, because he and the husband were owners of Harvest House. So I was managing the royal family of MDC Tsvangirai. So I had access to her. But we became closer on two fronts. That was 2021, because me, I joined when you join ZANU-PF, it means you join the CIO, because ZANU-PF is the CIO, officially CIO. Now, so she also joined the ZANU-PF, meaning she joined the CIO. Then it was me and the comrade Blessing Chebundo. He is now officially a member of the CIO too, and responsible in the commissariat of ZANU-PF, responsible for recruiting members of the opposition. So me and comrade Blessing Chebundo and Timveos, we were three of us, and we were best friends, sharing notes, many many stuff. And then it went on. I interviewed her. I had some WhatsApp groups, and she agreed to be interviewed by me, and I interviewed her. And together with this minister of tourism, I'm forgetting her name. This one, she's called who took a ballot boxes in Pan-African Parliament, Barbara Rodzi. I think I'm the only person in Zimbabwe who interviewed Barbara Rodzi. So I started making videos for her, because she said, "Comrade, I love your work." I remember at one point she was hitting, like wearing boxing gloves. Then I synchronized that video with ED wearing with the boxing gloves with this boxer. I forgot this boxer who won championship and visited ED, the boxer from Masvingo. Yeah, so I made quite a number of videos for her. And then we were speaking. When I came to Zimbabwe the first week, she was one of the people, the first people who welcomed me on my first day was Joshua Maponga and the Rutendo Benson Matinyarare, who did a party for me at Miku's Hotel. I think the 4th day of me arriving in Zimbabwe, she welcomed me and she gave me money and the fuel coupons because she was a board member of Petro Trade. So we were friends because we were sharing same challenges of being opposition leaders who have come to join ZANU-PF and the CIO. I'm saying it, and the CIO to those laymen who doesn't know that is ZANU-PF is a CIO. And Fierce, she was telling me how she was being rejected by ZANU-PF grassroots. Grassroots, I mean district in Shabane. They were saying she's spying. She was taken as a spy of the CCC to destroy ZANU-PF from within. Yet she had the capacity, because she was a member of the, she was in a senior member of the opposition, former senior member of the opposition. So she had the capacity, and we all know that in ZANU-PF, you are promoted when you know nothing, so that you are a puppet of the thieving leaders. So she expressed how she was, Midlands was like a province controlled by Muda, and the then chairperson, I always forget him, that Midlands is controlled by Muda. It's a province under Muda, Owen Ngube. And she's being monitored. I was even sometimes telling her how to check if her phones are bugged, and most of the time she did that. She was finding that her phones are bugged, are being listened to. Because the same person who was controlling Midlands, Owen Muda, was the then Minister of State Security, who was then pretended, Mnangagwa in a deal acted like he was fired when he was not. So Lilian Timveos was not welcomed well in ZANU-PF, the same as Blessing Chebundo. They are just being used by ZANU-PF. So she was used, and she's the one who created Young Women for ED. It's her idea, and she ran with it. She shared with Tatenda Mama Betera, because she was not qualifying to be in the youth. So then Young Women for ED was then translated into Pastors for ED, Mawindi for ED, everything. That whole issue, campaign strategy was masterminded by Lilian.
Okay, I'm still here, Mr. Janasi. You can continue, you can proceed, because you were taking us through, you took us through her suspicions that she was being bugged. So what happened after that?
Yes, when I met her at Petro Trade executive at a workshop at the Holiday Inn Hotel in 2022, when I arrived in Zimbabwe, the workshop, I think 3-day or 4-day workshop, that's where I met her and told her the codes to see if she's bugged, and we realized she was being bugged, and then we had to do some codes to unbug her phone, and we realized that even her Facebook page was hacked. So a clear sign that she was being monitored by the CIO. So she was not free from that moment. She would call me with the different numbers, especially for children, to ask for some or inbox me with a fake account, so that we can check again and guide her. She was being monitored. Like any opposition, ZANU-PF will never trust an opposition leader. Never. What they do is they give you a task, and then depending on the sensitivity of the task, if you are not clever, they will kill you. The same way, although we talk on a different platform, how the CIO planned to eliminate generals who helped Mnangagwa to be in power, for fear that because Mnangagwa knew that he will reverse the 90% agreement with the generals, that when he is in power, all the agreements, 90% of them is, if not 100%. So for fear that they would take out him again like Mugabe, there was a strategy to eliminate them. So the same with opposition, the same with the nurse who was treating Morgan Changirai. Emerson Mnangagwa paid medical bills in South Africa for Morgan Changirai for a strategy to access Morgan Changirai and to suggest a nurse to treat Morgan Changirai, so that nurse as an operative would kill Changirai, and that nurse was also killed. So that was the same strategy of Lilian Timveos, and the next person to be killed will be Blessing Chebundo.
Okay, so let's go to the period that you're talking about. She died suddenly at Harare hospital. What happened during this period? When do you think she was poisoned?
From my information within the intelligence, she was poisoned. I'm forgetting the organization. She was part of ZANU-PF organization, NGO, like these ones, like she was poisoned in an executive meeting. She was given poisoned through water.
Okay, I think I know the organization is some ZANU-PF information organization.
Yeah, she was poisoned during an executive meeting. What they normally do is that they can put maybe 20 bottles of water, and then let's say all the bottles are poisoned. When you don't know, you take your bottle, you drink. Others, they take the bottles, they don't drink. They can pretend like they are drinking, but they won't be drinking. So normally that's what is happening. A drink or a chair, yeah, normally. So yeah, she fell trapped into the water.
Okay, so that is ZANU-PF cyber team. That's the organization I was talking about. Okay, because she was the founder of ZANU-PF cyber team.
Yes, she was poisoned through executive meeting through the water.
Okay, so I just want to share with people who don't know Lilian Timveos a small video of her speaking. I think let's give this as an example of her speaking.
Okay.
The people's president. Mose munondiziva handiti mese munondiziva ndiri mumwe wevanhu vaifungoti ZANU-PF haiti handiti ndichitohla handiti asi zvakangotora phone call mufunge phone call after phone call kusvika ndiri pano nhasi ndingataura zvakawanda ndine vamwe vandauya navo asi
Right, so what do you think? She says she was afraid of ZANU-PF and someone was calling her. Who is this person who called her to ZANU-PF?
All right, a very good question. What happens is that the opposition was full of okay, it's a sad story that Lilian Timveos was she was sponsoring Triple C of Chamisa, and then Nelson Chamisa was specifically sleeping with her to drain her resources so that she finances more. Hence, she was upgraded to, I think, deputy treasurer. And then she had a lot of promises she was given that were not met. And she felt very used. Her reasons to leave Triple C was very personal. She was used sexually and financially and dumped by Nelson Chamisa. Because Chamisa has got a tendency to sleep with with female leaders in a way to control them. Because Chamisa wants you to, if he says 10 left, you 10 left. If you are a member of the working executive, whatever, you don't need to question or whatever. So she felt very used by Chamisa. She left Triple C a bitter woman. And so, as we know that in opposition, ZANU-PF pays a lot of money to have a lot of people. For example, I was also assigned this one. I forget this one. She was a chairperson of Triple C. This lady who once removed the top, what's her name?
Tabitha Kumalo.
Yes. In 2021, I was assigned to recruit Tabitha Kumalo, and I had more than 20 phone calls with Tabitha Kumalo. She can confirm this, where I was recruiting her for ZANU-PF. And her conditions, there was the COVID those days. So her conditions, she wanted me to come to Bulawayo so that we sit down and talk. She had given me conditions that she wanted a car which was taken back as a member of MP when she was recalled, and she had told me a lot of conditions. And unfortunately, COVID was not friendly, but I was supposed to fly to Bulawayo and meet her and then give her all the benefits she wanted for her to join ZANU-PF. But COVID, then I just gave up, because when we got the pornography videos of Chamisa, there was no need of proceeding with Tabitha Kumalo.
Okay, so I want to go where you've touched, and it's very important what you're saying, because myself and Lilian Timveos, we had a big disagreement after I did a story where someone accused her of sleeping with Tsvangirai. So
Yes.
I did write in our newspapers, that story was written. So are you saying Lilian was sleeping with Tsvangirai and with Chamisa and with who else?
All right, I want you to know that Nelson Chamisa was close to Tsvangirai because he was getting Tsvangirai women that he slept with first, so that those women, they would, if they are eventually married by Tsvangirai, they would represent him. Like Elizabeth Macheka was the reason Chamisa, when he lost to Secretary General post to election to Monzora, Elizabeth Macheka single-handedly forced Tsvangirai to appoint Chamisa vice president.
Okay, so in ZANU-PF, did she sleep with anyone in ZANU-PF?
Who?
Lilian.
No, let me be honest with you, my young brother, so that you understand the politics of the MDC Tsvangirai and ZANU-PF. In ZANU-PF and the MDC Tsvangirai was a god in MDC. Tsvangirai was the same as Mugabe, was running MDC the same way of Mugabe, although the difference was a name. Now, our political parties in Zimbabwe are run as cults, ruling party and opposition. Chamisa is a cult leader. That's why you see he's surrounded by young boys like this one. I forgot this. Young boys now, Zinasu, who lick his ass. And he doesn't want the mature politicians who are 40 years, 45 years, who can stand up to him. So in Zimbabwe, remember, we don't run a political party. The way the political party is being abused. In Zimbabwe, we follow one leader. We have got what we call personality politics. If you are in ZANU-PF, you must be be ready even to be sodomized by Mnangagwa. If you are under Triple C, then when Chamisa was there, you should even, if Chamisa says, I want your back, you should give him, you should be taking it, you should ask him for Vaseline. You don't say no. So personality politics, you follow the leader, and the leader does every strategy to make sure he controls and manage everyone. So women in Zimbabwe who are promoted to senior positions in government, in their respective political parties, they open their legs.
Okay, so in ZANU PF, who was she sleeping with?
First was Isaac Moyo, the director of intelligence. She was recruited directly by Isaac Moyo. I was recruited by Isaac Moyo. Monzora was recruited by Isaac Moyo. This one, this woman I always talk about is called what? This one who acts like she's running an opposition party.
Masarira.
Masarira was recruited by Isaac Moyo. So when you are famous and you are good in politics in the opposition, the director general would contact you himself.
Okay, but she was from Midlands. Who from Midlands was with her?
No, obviously it was Owen Muda had control, but I'm saying the minister would then not run you every day. The person who manages CIOs is Isaac Moyo. He is the one who does administration. Remember, any member of the CIO who would convince you would then hand you over to the director general.
Okay, so you are saying she was used by the CIO after they recruited her, leading to the poisoning. After she did so much work, like forming the ZANU PF cyber team. What was the reason behind the poisoning? What has she done?
And she's the one who recruited my TT into the CIO.
Okay.
Yeah, she convinced my TT to join the CIO. Because remember my TT at some point was in legal problems. ZANU PF, when you are in a legal problem and you need help to avoid prison, yeah, so she joined the ZANU PF for that. When she was arrested, she went to Chikurubi. She was being paid fully by the CIO. It was like towards the election to prove to defeat, catch and release. Because my TT was the most famous Zimbabwean female Zimbabwean in terms of followers on Facebook. I think she was over 1.5 million. So it was a strategy by the CIO to find someone very famous and lock her in prison, but she was paid because she was already under the CIO.
Okay, so now let's wrap up this story. You are saying that she was poisoned at a meeting, an executive meeting of ZANU PF cyber team. She was poisoned through water. And what I don't understand is what was the reason why she was poisoned? What has she done?
Thank you so much. When you do so much in ZANU PF, and they know, because remember in ZANU PF, there is a circle that is permanent of people who must enjoy the money. Anyone else in that, not in that circle, no matter how much you put, you never get access to money. Because the people who are close are those who do dirty work, especially killing. People like Chivayo, people like Scott Sagupkanya, those are hitmen. ED can only be closer to you if you are a killer. You run teams of people who assassinate. And they know that if you are killing on behalf of them, you never betray them, because the whole killing will be documented. So you never come up to tomorrow and betray them. You'll be arrested for those murders. So any other person who is just campaigning and whatever, they will never let you access money, because what if one day you are not happy, you can form an opposition party or whatsoever. So she was not in the circle of money. Blessing Chebundo is not in a circle of money. So both of them were being used for campaign strategy and recruiting opposition members. Then at some point they were dumped, and because she was vocal, and they were not trusting that after dumping her, would she be quiet? West Tinashe Jonas is already out, a friend of her. I'm already out vocal. I mean, obviously, some people who are my friends, they are now being observed with the 3 eyes.
Okay. So take me through this poisoning plot. I want to look at the president of Botswana. And I mentioned in the morning that you are going to give us a little bit more about what could happen to the president of Botswana. Do you think the president of Botswana could be poisoned, and how would that work?
All right. I was actually personally shocked that President Duma Boko would start his foreign trips in Zimbabwe when the whole CIO operation is against him. Personally, I was shocked to see him visiting Zimbabwe because ED is very charming. The possible poisoning, I don't know his security advisor. First, the hat he was wearing, I don't know if it was given, because Mnangagwa was wearing that same hat. So I believe his security advisors are so clever that they asked for the design of that hat and designed their own hat in Botswana. If he was given that hat, that is that cap, blue cap, that's the first way he can be poisoned. The second, I saw him sitting on a couch having a one-on-one meeting with the ED. If that couch was prepared in advance, that's the second way of poisoning. They prepare a chair or a couch in advance and they put poison on it. Number 3, I want to believe if he was offered water, he didn't drink. Number 4, sometimes you can shake hands with the people who are wearing very thin gloves that you might not even realize they are wearing gloves or gloves. When they are wearing gloves, they can put poison on top of the gloves. Then they greet you. So I hope, and sometimes when you are a foreign dignitary, you are given a room that you can want to change or whatever. That room is normally can be poisoned. So I want to believe that his security team were aware of the things that I've mentioned, because the ED and Masisi are now like brothers. I've got information that even I was told that Masisi is building or already has completed the mansion in Borodale. Masisi was even going to the farm of ED. So for Comrade Duma to believe ED loves him, it's far-fetched.
Okay, so I think I want to just give people what happened when I was in Harare. And people think maybe what you're talking about here is theoretical. I was sitting in my hotel room in Harare, and someone visited me who looks exactly like me, a young brother of mine. And so I told him that I cannot walk out because I'm busy with something on the computer. So he walked out by himself. And I believe that people who were observing my room thought that I had left. Because as soon as he left, about 2 or 3 minutes after, my door flung open and a young lady just stood there in front of me. And I was still using my computer. And I was like, so she was so shocked to see me. She slammed the door and ran away. I went to the passage to look for her. She was gone. What will be happening there? What do they do when you're not in your room?
Okay, thank you so much. All hotels 4-star, 5-star in Zimbabwe, all lodges that are top class, they've got rooms for the president's office, for the CIOs. Those rooms are paid every month or per year by the CIO offices. Now, what happens? Receptionists, those people who books, they are members of the operative. They are CIOs. We talk of Holiday Inn, we talk of Cresta, Monomotapa, Mikus, Rainbow Towers. Where's Rainbow Towers? Rainbow Towers is officially under the CIO, the whole hotel. Now, workers there, security, whatever, waitresses, Rainbow Towers, they are CIO operatives. Now, so let's say Holiday Inn has got 20 rooms for president's office, because normally they range from 20 plus or minus 20. Holiday Inn, Monomotapa, Cresta, whatever. Now, when the person who is booking a room is, pardon Gambakwe, you are directly reserved a room that is the president's office. Under the president's office. For example, they can have 5 rooms, maybe first floor, ground floor. Then second floor, they can have 5. I'm giving an example. Now, there will be then, let's say there are 20 rooms. Maybe 2 rooms are occupied by operatives, or 3 rooms are occupied by operatives who are on duty day and night, and they've got spare keys. Now, when you pay that money you pay for booking, it goes to the president's office, because the president's office pays for those rooms for a year. They belong to them. So now, the moment you book there, you are booked into the president's office rooms, and then they've got access 24 hours. So they can look at you on CCTV or whatever. When they come in, it depends, because normally those rooms might have cameras, might have listening devices. There's a lot.
Okay. So in that case, when she was going into my room, because this is the second time this has happened to me. The first time I was in Bulawayo, I
Yes.
came back from Botswana and I had a lot of groceries. And I was very tired. So I just put all my groceries in my room, and I sort of like fell asleep on the bed before I went out. However, someone drove my car out of the same hotel. I'd given them my car to drive away. So they believed that I'd left. And another young lady also came into my room, and the same scenario occurred. So I know that for a fact that whenever I'm in Harare or in Bulawayo, I'm being watched. What did they want to do in my room? Because on both occasions I was there, so they didn't do whatever they wanted to do. What is it that they want to do in my room? Why are they entering my room in Harare or in Bulawayo?
Okay, thank you. First thing might be to activate, to make sure that they activate the cameras or the listening devices, so that they record maybe you are having sexual activity. They've got the footage that they can release whenever they want to destroy you. Secondly, they might poison your sheets, your blankets, so that when you sleep, you breathe them. You breathe that poisoning. And then also maybe you leave your computer or laptop. They can install devices to collect all the information on your laptop, because they've got devices to crack your passwords. So, and remember, these are trained people that 5 minutes in your room, they can do maximum damage. So, to install on your laptop, or maybe you have left your phone charging, they can put devices, camera, listening, poisoning, they poison your chair, your sheets, There are so many things depending with the instruction from Isaac Moy.
Okay, I think you are absolutely correct, because I believe that when I was in Zambia, I got poisoned in Zambia. I believe that was the case. When I came home, I had lost my ability to speak. I could not control my speech. I was slurring like crazy, and I couldn't believe that this has happened. When I arrived, there were so many guys from Zimbabwe at the hotel where I was staying, and this was in
Yes.
Zambia, not in
Yes.
okay. So what are some of the things that someone can know that they've been poisoned? Like, how do you know that you've been poisoned?
Normally, you don't know, because remember, this poison works. It depends with what kind of poison, but most of their poisons of the CIO comes from Russia. Now, they poison you depending with because there's a poisoning. Normally, they use a poisoning that comes later as cancer. You know, like the poisoning of Tokozani Kupe, yeah, Morgan Changirai. Those are cancer causing poisoning. Then sometimes you are poisoned for sudden death. Maybe it's a poison that affects your lungs or kidneys, because remember they've got more than 10 types of poisoning, what they outsource from different countries. Because poisoning are more like biological warfare, you know. So sometimes I forget food. When you order food, those who know at Rainbow Towers, it takes at least 1 hour to come. Because there will be communication that Gambakwe has ordered food. What can we do? Then, food is, when you are an enemy of ZANU-PF at Rainbow Towers, people would witness the food is not allowed to be delivered before an hour elapses. So if you order drinks, make sure you order bottles. Otherwise, if you order cans, they can even inject a can.
Okay, very interesting. So what do you think would have happened to the president of Botswana?
As I said, if the president of Botswana was given that blue cape by ZANU-PF, it's poisoned. If the couch in the meeting, if the couch was his intelligence officers, they never had 10 minutes access to clean that couch. When I want all visiting dignity VIPs to Zimbabwe to go along with your own water and your own chairs. If you are told where to sit and you sit there, you are poisoned if you are an enemy. And also water. And if he was given his own room in the hotel where he can change whatever, because you are given your room, even if you are coming back, returning the same day, you are given a room or rooms in a hotel where you can change or rest or whatever, or prepare. If he was given those rooms without his advanced team choosing rooms and secure them, then he is poisoned.
Okay, so what do you think you should do right now? If you're poisoned by the guys in ZANU-PF, what should you do?
I advise, if the things I've mentioned, his security team, they never did one of them. He must be taken for advanced medical examination, advanced, to check any foreign bodies in his lungs, in his kidneys, anyway, in his blood, because they've got more than types of poisoning, more than 10 times types of poisoning.
Okay, Mr. Tinashi Jonasi, this is very interesting, and unfortunately, we have to bring this to an end. And as I said, this is what you're speaking about here is a critical information. There are people that were poisoned in a certain picture. There's a certain picture that I have got where everyone in that picture has got cancer or got cancer. I'm going to show you that picture one day. And S. Lumumba is in that picture. He's one of the people
Yes,
in that picture. So I'm going to
yes,
show you that picture one day. I was just looking for it here so that I could find it. Unfortunately,
yes.
can't find
And
it.
I know the story of S. Lumumba. He was poisoned. They call it in CIO honey pot. He was poisoned through a lava.
Okay, and how does that work?
Okay. If you are in opposition, if you are an activist or an opposition leader, you must avoid beautiful ladies from Zimbabwe. I advise you propose a lady outside your circle, someone who inboxes you and say or call you and say I like you, I like your activism. If we can have 10 people like you, Zimbabwe will be free. It's better you become a hunter. You get a girlfriend or outside politics. Otherwise, anyone who is your fan or your follower on social media, avoid that person. Because the ZANU PF has got a lot of ladies who are run by the cousin of Mnangagwa. This one is called Henrietta Rushwaya, who trapped Japreza and gave his unlimited sex without sex shedding to Japreza and Morgan Changirai. There were many ladies he was trapping with. And also this guy at Rainbow Towers we once mentioned is called who?
You mean the pastor?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember his name, but I know he's a popular pastor from ZANU PF.
Yeah, it's like what Mfundo or what? Something like Mfundo is what?
I think we'll confirm, but I know who you're talking about.
Yes, and then yeah, so there are so many women in the CIO who are well structured, very beautiful, who are trained the art of seduction. They join your organization. They even, some of them sponsor. They come with expensive cars. You give them positions, or they just like you. They call you to check on you, and you look at their profile pictures. You are attracted. You are in.
Okay, and I'll bring you the story of Divine Mafa. Divine Mafa has got cancer now. He just announced I think 2 months ago that he got cancer. He was heavily poisoned when he went to, he says he was heavily poisoned in South Africa. And he has made very serious allegations. And he claims that the people that poisoned him have confessed that they did indeed poison him at the instructions of ZANU-PF officials. So I think one day we'll ask Divine Mafa to come here. He's got now stage 4, what do you call that? Cancer of the stomach. That is got right now as we speak. It's unfortunate that he says he spent a night with some women in a room.
Yes.
And I'm not confirming anything. I'm just saying that is what he said to me.
Yes. They do that. Beautiful ladies would call Gambakwe and say, we like you, you are fearless, you are what? Any lady who calls you and they praise you, don't propose love.
Okay, that's fantastic. Mr. Tinashi Jonasi, this was very interesting. And I hope that the Botswana president and his team are watching. I also felt that they are underestimating ZANU-PF. They are behaving like amateurs, walking into ZANU-PF's and almost as if ZANU-PF is a friend. That's what I thought that was a mistake. And the Botswana president, I think it's because he's new, He doesn't know how to say no to Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa is very dangerous. I believe that this was a mistake. This visit was a very bad mistake by the president of Botswana. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I just wanted to warn people that if you are once crossing path with Mnangagwa, Mnangagwa will never forgive anyone. When he forgive you, it's a trap. They want you closer to profile you, to see how dangerous you are, and what is your skill. They use you, they dump you. Monzora, things will be bad for Monzora. Things will be bad for Blessing Chebundo.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Tinashe Jonasi. And I'll talk to you again. Our normal sessions is on Fridays. So we'll be back here on Friday and we'll probably look at what has happened with SADC. Do you have a quick word for SADC before we go?
To begin with, the same SADC, what is the motivation of SADC to do this extraordinary summit? First, the chairperson of that SADC, Emerson Mnangagwa, the same SADC had a conclusion that he rigged the election in Zimbabwe, but they never convened an extraordinary summit. The same SADC, the Thabo Mbeki, a devil of Zimbabweans, had an evil strategy called quiet diplomacy. When Tsvangirai won the election in Zimbabwe, they were made to be in a government of national unity to give ZANU-PF a breather to rig elections. The same SADC is watching while people in Swaziland are being oppressed by a dictator. And he is sleeping with the kids day in, day out, a pedophile, out of order. And the SADC is quiet. The meeting in Zimbabwe is called because the people of Mozambique are defending their vote. So the strategy is to call on either, number one, there are three possibilities already. Number one, to urge the opposition leader to accept the results. Because Matema Danda, the Zimbabwean ambassador to Mozambique, was interviewed by ZANU-PF at the Congress in Bulawayo, and he said the election was free and fair. Now, they want to convince the opposition to accept results, number one. If they can't, number two, they will want to convince opposition into a government of national unity, so that Frelimo is given a breather and devise more strategies to destroy the leaders in terms of poisoning, in terms of buying others, the legal team, everything, media, and those who are leading protests, because they identify the strongest team members of the opposition. That 5-year government of national unity is to weaken the people around the opposition leader. And then these are the only outcomes that are already there. Rerun, they are not ready for that. To declare the opposition the winner, they are not ready for that. So I urge the people of Mozambique to continue with the protests. As long as the outcome is to convince them to accept the result, a luta continua. As long as the outcome is the government of national unity, a luta continua. And I want to urge Zimbabweans to support the people of Mozambique. I want to urge Zimbabweans to take over Zimbabwe now. I want to urge opposition leaders in South Africa, in Zambia, sorry, in everywhere, in SADC, to be in solidarity with the people of Mozambique.
Okay, Mr. Jonasi, I really enjoy talking to you. And I know many people don't agree with a lot of things that you say. However, I have to let you give us what you have, because I really trust that the information that you have is credible. Thank you very much, Mr. Tsunaj and Jonasi, and a good night to all the people who have been watching and following us for the past hour.
Thank you so much for the invitation.